to invite the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Prime Minister of St. Lucia and Chairman of CARICOM, to deliver the feature address. Prime Minister Pierre.
Thank you very much, Jean. Excellencies, heads of government, members of the Cabinet of St. Lucia, Excellency Mr. Felix Finisterre, Deputy Governor General, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. After listening to Rahim and Terence, and I wonder, what can I say? But trust me, I will not act like the regular politician. When he gets a mic, he can't leave it. My stay this evening on this mic will not be very long. I address you today with a deep sense of responsibility as I assume the chairmanship of the Caribbean community. This is not a responsibility I take lightly. The chairmanship of CARICOM is not merely a ceremonial position. It's a call to service and stewardship. It's the time for collective leadership at a time when our region must act with clarity, urgency, and unity to preserve the region's long-term sustainability. I wish to commend the leadership of the chairperson, the Honorable Dr. Terence Dew, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, for the work he has undertaken during his tenure in advancing the priorities of our community. In the spirit of continuity, cooperation, and shared responsibility, I look forward to working with Prime Minister Dew and Prime Minister Simmons of Suriname in the CARICOM Bureau. Your Excellencies, I assume this chairmanship at a time when the Caribbean, and indeed the world, is facing profound uncertainty. The international environment is marked by geopolitical tensions, weakening and rising costs of living, technological disruption, climate vulnerability, and increasing threats to citizen security. Our people feel these pressures every day. They feel it in the price of food and the cost of energy. They feel it when hurricanes become stronger, when rainfall becomes more unpredictable, and when farms and fishing communities are affected by climate change. They feel it when families worry about crime, violence, illegal firearms, and the safety of their communities. Across our region, our people are asking a serious and legitimate question: what more can CARICOM do for me? The question is not an attack on this community, but a genuine appeal for a solution. It's an appeal for us to accelerate the work of regional integration and to ensure that CARICOM is not only understood in conference rooms, communiques, and official declarations, but as a source of change in homes, schools, businesses, communities, and among our young people. This chairmanship, therefore, must belong not only to governments, but the people CARICOM is expected to serve. It belongs to every Caribbean person who still believes that our region can do more and deliver more to the people. During this chairmanship, my commitment will be guided by a simple but important principle. CARICOM must move from conference rooms to communities, from rhetoric from reality, from communiques to results. Our people must be able to see and feel the benefits of regional cooperation. It is not enough for us to agree in principle. We must implement in practice. It is not enough for us to speak of integration. We must make integration work for the ordinary citizen. It is not enough for our decisions to be recorded. They must be acted upon, measured, and followed through. Integration that our people cannot feel will not last. Every decision we take must be connected to the lived experience of Caribbean people. Every commitment we make must have ownership, timelines, and accountability. Every major priority must answer one question: how will this improve the lives of our people? A priority of this chairmanship must be unity. Unity is the foundation on which everything rests. But unity must never be taken for granted and will not happen automatically. It requires work, it requires trust, it requires consultation, it requires consensus on some issues. Our common interests are greater than our differences, which we should seek to leverage. The world has often benefited from Caribbean disunity. Larger powers and larger markets can more easily engage a divided Caribbean than a united one. But when the Caribbean speaks with one voice, when we act together, when we negotiate as a bloc, our collective influence is far greater. Our diversity is not weakness. Our shared history, cultures, and economies are part of the richness of this community. But our shared vulnerability, shared aspirations, and shared future must bind us even more strongly. During my chairmanship, I will work to ensure that no member state feels unheard, unseen, or isolated. Every voice counts. Every nation matters. Every citizen must be able to see themselves reflected in the work of CARICOM. The strength of this community will depend on whether we can continue to build trust among ourselves and act with a purpose in the interests of the Caribbean people. In recent times, differences have emerged among and within some of our states on matters of regional and foreign policy. This is not unusual in any democratic space, and it does not weaken us. If we remain anchored in principle, mutual respect, and constructive dialogue, what must guide us always is the interest of our people, our shared commitment to the rule of law, respect for constitutional order, and peaceful settlement of disputes, and the use of diplomacy as the foundation of our foreign engagement. One of the most urgent concerns facing our people today is the issue of crime and security. Across the region, our societies are confronting violent crime, illicit firearms, trafficking, organized criminal networks, cybercrime, gang activity, drug trafficking, and delays within our criminal justice system. These are not isolated national problems. They are regional challenges with regional consequences. Crime affects families, it affects communities, it affects schools, it affects businesses, it affects investor confidence, it affects tourism. Thus, it affects economic viability and social stability. Most importantly, it affects the sense of peace and dignity that every Caribbean citizen deserves. No member state can address these challenges alone. The movement of illegal firearms across borders, the influence of organized networks, cyber-enabled criminal activity, and the pressures on law enforcement and justice systems require coordinated action. CARICOM member states have made certain commitments in the fight against criminality. Many of these need to be enforced or implemented. But we must also be clear, security is not only about enforcement, it's also about prevention. It's about giving young people alternatives to crime. It's about education, skills training, employment, sports, culture, mentorship, mental health support, and community development. It's about addressing the social and economic conditions that allow crime and violence to take root. A safer Caribbean must also be a more hopeful Caribbean. Let us promote inclusive dialogue towards a regional practical action plan for citizen security. Our people are asking for safety and hope. We must respond together. Excellencies, the Caribbean did not create the climate crisis, yet we continue to bear some of its harshest consequences. I will continue to support a strong, united CARICOM voice in international forum where climate justice is discussed. We must continue to advocate for fair access to climate finance, compensatory loss and damage support, debt relief linked to climate vulnerability, and international financial systems that recognize the realities of small islands and low-lying coastal developing states. We cannot accept a global system that praises our resilience while denying us the resources to survive. We cannot accept frameworks that measure vulnerability only by income loss, while ignoring our vulnerability and exposure to the destruction of climate events. The Caribbean must continue to insist on fairness. We must continue to insist on justice. We must continue to insist that those who contributed to the climate crisis carry their fair share of responsibility. Moving forward, CARICOM has established a distinct negotiating bloc, consider red lines for negotiating thresholds, including 1.5 Celsius pre-industrial temperature limit and the strengthening of CARICOM's climate diplomacy. In this regard, CARICOM gives its full support to Guyana in its quest to host a future COP35 conference in 2030. How can we expect to effectively respond when we never have the time and resources to truly recover? The vulnerabilities that existed before recent global crises have not disappeared. Many of our economies remain heavily dependent on imports, exposed to external shocks, constrained by small markets, and burdened by high debt and limited fiscal space. Economic renewal must therefore be central to our regional agenda. We must deepen and expand the CARICOM single market and economy. We must advance implementation and address the long-standing obstacles that hinder the free movement of skills, services, goods, capital, and enterprise across the community. A ferry service for transportation of people and goods must be a priority. We must ensure that Caribbean citizens can see real opportunity and benefits in regional integration. Recent global events have underscored that food and nutrition security must remain a major priority for the community. It is unacceptable that a region with land, sea talent, and agricultural heritage continues to spend so heavily on food imports. We must support farmers, fishers, agro-processors, transport links, and regional markets so that more Caribbean food feeds Caribbean people. CARICOM has set ambitious goals regarding regional food security, and all we need is the will and determination to provide healthy and nutritional food to our people. As we accelerate the transformation of our economies, the reality of digital innovation, e-commerce, and technological-enabled services must be utilized. Artificial intelligence is changing all aspects of our business and private lives. It is reality that governments must prepare for which appropriate policy measures must be taken. CARICOM must pursue a harmonized regional approach to AI to safeguard digital sovereignty and promote the ethical implementation of AI across its member states. Continued collaboration is essential to prevent the region from falling behind global standards and worsening existing technological vulnerabilities. The CARICOM labor force must upskill and re-educate to make use of these new opportunities. Economic renewal is about opportunity, the dignity of work, and ensuring that our people can improve their quality of life. Renewal must include those who have too often been left at the margins: our youth, our women, persons living with disabilities, indigenous peoples, vulnerable communities, Rastafarians, and those historically excluded from opportunity must be placed at the center of the regional agenda. Our young people are watching us. They are listening to what we say, but more importantly, they are measuring what we do. They are asking whether CARICOM speaks to their future. They are asking whether regional integration will create jobs. They are asking whether free movement will be made easier. They are asking whether entrepreneurship will be supported. They are asking whether their voices matter. We must answer these questions, not with slogans, but with action. That is why youth engagement must be an important part of our work. We must create acceptable opportunities for young people to contribute ideas, challenge assumptions, and shape the future of the community that will influence their future. Most importantly, we must converse with them and not simply lecture to them. If CARICOM is to deliver results, then our regional institutions must be funded, strengthened, supported, and made more visible to our citizens. Our institutions are essential instruments of regional growth and development. They support public health, education, disaster response, climate resilience, agriculture, fisheries, security cooperation, standards research, and economic development. When I say institutions, I mean CDMO, CAFA, CXC, CDB, UE, among others. These are some of our CARICOM institutions. Through these institutions, small states are able to pool expertise, share resources, respond to crises, build capacity, and pursue common goals more effectively than any one country could do alone. But our people must better understand the value of these institutions. They must see that CARICOM is not only meetings of heads of governments, it is also practical work being done across the region to protect health, prepare for disasters, support education, respond to security threats, improve standards, and build resilience. During this chairmanship, we must continue to connect the work of CARICOM institutions to the everyday lives of Caribbean citizens. My brothers and my sisters, each of us know the burdens of leading small nations in a large and often unforgiving world. Each of us understands the difficult balance between national demands and regional responsibilities. Each of us knows the pressure of the immediate and the urgent. Each of us knows how easy it can be to focus on national rather than the regional, the political rather than the generational. But this moment calls us to be greater than the limits of the present. It calls us to think beyond election cycles. It calls us to think beyond national borders. It calls us to think beyond the pressures of today, and towards the Caribbean, we must live for tomorrow. We owe that to the founders of this community. We owe it to the generations who struggled for independence, dignity, and self-determination. We owe it to those who believe that small states acting together could become a powerful force for development, justice, and progress. And above all, we owe it to the people of the Caribbean. History may forgive us for disagreements. It may even forgive us for delay, but it will never forgive us for failing to create a stronger, safer, fairer, and more united Caribbean community. And as I assume this chairmanship of CARICOM, I do so with humility, determination, and with a deep sense of respect for the responsibility to the people of the region. I'm prepared to serve and listen to my colleagues while working with them in advancing the common good of the CARICOM people. Unity within CARICOM must be foundational. If we are to create a safer place for our people and secure climate justice for them, we need to find an economic space for our youth, offering them a chance to develop and express their creativity while offering them hope. The ideals of CARICOM must become real in the lives of our people, especially the youth. The future of CARICOM lies with them, and so they must be empowered to take CARICOM to the next level. As I stand before you, there are a few clear imperatives that must be addressed. We need a Caribbean community that is stronger, safer, more inclusive, economically stronger, and more confident in its destiny. We need to work strategically and tirelessly for the sustainability of the region. Together, let us move from resilience in solidarity with the people of the Caribbean.